Alright, everybody, and welcome to the Wanderlost Demo that is available on Steam. So, what is Wanderlost? Well, it's a pretty cool looking pixel art survival game that features a ton of zombies. And just like 7 Days to Die, you will be facing a lot of zombies. But with that brief description out the way, let's get started with a new game. So, the game starts out simply enough with your character leaving the city and heading out to the countryside, but there's some not so friendly individuals following the vehicle. Eventually, we find ourselves off the beaten path on a dirt road on our way to what seems like possibly safety. When So we find ourselves crashed next to some stone and very quickly learn that there are some pieces we're going to need in order to repair our vehicle. A lot of these can be found by salvaging other vehicles. However, we do have a number of items here in the back of our vehicle that we can grab up right off the bat. And of course, we want to search the bag because there's food in here for us to get started with, which is great. We can use this bag to store things, so if you'd like, you can start your first base right here. Now, there are a number of different biomes we're going to have to keep an eye out for. Of course, this is a beach biome, there's a temperate biome, there's some colder regions with snow. Each of these have different trees that we can gather from. And we have our main quests up here on the left. So, getting started is very, very simple. We're just going to go ahead and grab up all of these wonderful stones and use them to learn some interesting stuff. I really like this style of learning in video games. And of course now we're getting hounded by one of these. Oh, that's a shame. You can loot the zombies and they will give you some pretty interesting items. One of the best things I think early on that you can get is brick, because that will teach you a lot of new recipes. So, I did reference 7 Days to Die earlier, and up here on the right you can see a number there. That is how long we have until a massive group of zombies come to wreck our day, essentially. So we're going to want to build a base. Now, as you can see up here, we're also gathering up a ton of items and learning the basic crafting recipes. There's a lot of things to explore and craft in this game. As you can see, it starts out with the basics like wooden cups, bandages, some clothing. You have your weapons. Of course, you can make your fire, your hand tools, your drills, and your basic workbenches. There's a ton of different items you can use to make the actual items that you need for your vehicle. Ropes are pretty essential, and then you have your building pieces, like your walls and fences. The best pieces that you can get, the best chance you're going to have of surviving the night. However, getting the basic items out of the way is really important. Gathering plants will give you the fiber and stuff for making your ropes. And of course, there's logs scattered throughout. Once we have an axe, we can gather from bushes to do the same. And we can gather from small stumps and things like that in order to get our sticks. We will move through each of the zones here, and you can see there's plenty of animals running around. There are some aggressive creatures that you're going to want to keep an eye out for. Not technically the zombies, although they are aggressive. Yeah, that's some tuna. Nice. There is a skill system within the game. We're going to go ahead and just apply everything to strength currently. Bam, we're getting some money. There you go, we got some iron. Oh no, so we're bleeding. And there's not much I can do about it currently. But here are one of the more important things for you to gather. You're going to want to smack these, get some sticks, and it will teach you a ton of new stuff. One of the things I overlooked when I first started playing is you do get a plastic bottle from your truck, and you can attach that to the side of your backpack. Go over to the water here and get you a drink. As you can see, it's draining water into our water bar. All we have to do is keep this water bottle topped up, and we'll be in good shape as far as that's concerned. Food is a little bit more rough. So, my suggestion for a good starting base would definitely be not technically near water, because it's very, very easy to stay well hydrated. Now, being in a light green area on your map right here is a pretty temperate zone. You don't have to worry about freezing or overheating. And usually it's pretty open. We can go ahead and build here and find ourselves plenty of food. There's plants laying around that are edible, and plenty of small stones and trees. So let's go ahead and get started with the basics. Now, we have stone tools that we can make very easily. We'll have to make some sharp stones. Okay, and with all of that made, we can make ourselves a stone axe, a stone pick, a stone knife for skinning animals, and get to the next step, which is chop the trees. Alright, it's time to light our first fire. Once you've placed it down on the ground, you just simply walk up and press E, and then you play yourself a little mini game. Bam! Now, you want to keep your fire lit. All you have to do is make sure that you grab any logs that you have, or sticks, depending on what type of fire you built. Walk over, make sure the log is in your hand, press E, and it will top it up. Now, you want to keep this rolling because it will defend you a little bit from zombies. The building system is very simplistic. You just put the item on your hotbar, and then you can drag it around your screen very simply. Place it wherever you want. Bam. We're going to start down here. We got a wooden fence. That's a good start to a base. Next, we need to make some more wooden structures, and we will give ourselves some decent room. Usually I like to go about a screen size. That way we have plenty of room to expand. Eventually, you will find scraps of papers by taking out zombies, and they'll lead you to where you can find some civilization. We'll go check that out. Ours happens to be in the south. And while you're at the civilization, be sure to be as friendly as possible so that way they'll let you in. Bam! And then you get to meet all of the wonderful people. Sure to send positive vibes out into the universe. Will do. Will do. Now, we can go over here and visit each of the shops, which that one seems to be closed currently. We can pick up a ton of different quests by talking to the NPCs. Can't talk. Alright, fine. Don't talk to me. That's fine. Ooh, hello, survivor. There's work to be done. Bam! Quest received. Now, on top of keeping ourselves alive, we have to help keep the village alive. There are a few things that you can loot around town, but for the most part, we're just here to grab some quests. And we can get a bunch of quests very quickly. One of the things you're going to want to check out is see if there's any boxes laying around, because they will contain things like hats and food items that we can take back to our base and cook. And there's also a few animal traps laying around. These ones seem to be empty currently. And so, as you're attempting to secure your base, the building system is a little odd. You have to just move your cursor around, and eventually it will tell you that it will rotate to a specific position. For example, whenever we go up here to the fence, it should eventually try to snap to the other ones, but it's giving me a hard time here. Bam. There we go. We now have ourselves a box. And then this is what I'm going to use for the horde. So we'll be able to stand in here and hopefully stab, and survive. But we need a few more sticks in order to finish this out. Eventually we will make one that's going to wrap around our whole structure here. But for the time being, it's a good start. So, going a little bit further in detail for the building system, when placing walls, you are able to make them snap together. But let's say you accidentally place a wall where it doesn't quite snap properly. You can very easily just hold right click and pick any of your items back up, which is amazing. A lot of survival games tend to overlook the ability to pick up these pieces. I get it, realism, but it's a video game. So thank you for that. I do appreciate the ability to go ahead and move things around. And eventually we'll get pretty low on the numbers there. And things are about to get a little crazy. Horde incoming. Ha! Come get me, zombies. I don't know how well this is gonna hold up, but we're gonna give it our best. Ah! She made it in! She made it in! Get out! Get out of my voice! But it didn't. You're gonna need yourself a much better structure. So, deaths in this game are permadeaths. You're dead. You can continue from where you left off. However, this is what you're left with. Being right next to the Horde Knight, as you can see, the enemies do drop weapons. So keep your inventory empty and you can at least get yourself some guns and pray. But with all of the basics out of the way, it is time to head over to the pros and cons list. Before we get started with the pros and cons, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank everybody who's stuck around this long. Now, I also have to state that the game is in an alpha state, and this is only a demo, so there's going to be a lot of things that change in the future. However, I can only review what is currently available to us here in the demo. So, with that said, I also got some awesome comments on one of my previous reviews where they asked me to not separate the pros and cons quite the way I did before. So we're going to try to go over the pros first and then get into the cons. So starting with the pros, we have the visuals. just look at that. The art style is really nice. There's a ton of different assets in here that look really good. I love me a good pixel art game and survival games in general. So this one has been a lot of fun. Alongside the visuals is how the game runs. So I haven't had any frame skips or any issues with FPS drops whatsoever. The game, even when throwing a bunch of items on the ground, runs just fine. There is a bit of a loading screen whenever you leave the edges of your map, which is fine because there's plenty of open world to explore. Plenty of little villages to seek out, so another pro would definitely be that there's plenty of quests to do, meaning lots of content. You'll have an opportunity to try all these out if you check out the demo. I will leave a link down in the description if you want to check that out. But let's continue. Another pro is that there are a ton of items to craft throughout the game. Plenty of workbenches, armor, weapons, tools, going all the way up to guns and bows. So you're going to be spending a lot of time crafting and looting and gathering. Unfortunately, it's now time to go to the cons. So I do this in every video it seems, but sound is a problem. The game is extremely loud. It seems to only have 1 or 2 soundtracks which loop repeatedly, and there's no way to change currently the volume of the game. You have to go onto your desktop and reduce the sound manually through your audio mixer, and that's a little bit rough. Again, it's in an alpha state. I'm sure this is something that's going to change for the time being. Headphone warning for anybody who keeps their headphones turned up and monitors turned up. Next, as far as the menu is concerned, you can turn on and off the full screen. There's a camera shake option, which is great, but not much in the way of anything other than a couple toggles. I would like to see a lot more change as far as this menu is concerned. While they do give you little quests that you can do, and you can pick up quests at the NPCs, you are kind of left to your own devices. It would be nice if there was a little bit more of a tutorial, just going into more detail on how to build structures and stuff. I did feel like I was stumbling around at first. After having an opportunity to play it for a while, you do learn all these systems very quickly, and they are simple to pick up. But getting you, because of the impending horde, to the ability to build structures a lot quicker would probably be beneficial to people in the long run. Would I recommend the game? Absolutely. It's a free demo. I would recommend everybody take the opportunity to try out the game, especially if you're into survival, because it can only get better from here. The game is definitely in an early state, but I've had fun, and I've got plenty of hours of gameplay out of it. So, that said, how would I rate the game? Well, probably around a 7 or a 6.5, and I gotta be honest, the gameplay is simplistic at face value. The amount of crafting items does get a little tedious, and the menu isn't very forgiving, as there's no way to search specifically for items. You can toggle on and off certain recipes, but it's still definitely in an early state, and I'm sure these menus and things are going to change up in the future. Now, the other reason why I would rate it so low is definitely the options menu. I get it, alpha state, going to change, but for the time being, it's still a problem for me. that's pretty much all I have to say about the game. It is a fun little pixel art game that I found out there on Steam. Again, I'll leave a link to the game if you want to check it out for yourself. However, that is going to do it for us here today. So, thank you everybody for stopping out. I greatly appreciate you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content, because there's a lot more reviews coming in the future. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Stay healthy out there. And I will see you on the next one. Bye everybody.